Hi, everybody. This is 1,289 days, and we are still working and we're getting somewhere. We have a lot of investigation confirmations going on right now that are just amazing. We are setting up meetings finally with, it's interesting um, how you have to be very, very persistent to drive the agencies, drive those who are supposed to be keeping us safe and overseeing our community, capturing the criminals, identifying crime and criminals, documenting it all so that we can have oversight of it when it comes to the courts, when they are prosecuted, and we get accountability to know for sure that justice is being served. This is the whole premise of our government, is that justice is served, that the laws are being upheld. And, we have so many agencies and organizations that are meant to contribute to that end, to that goal, that justice is upheld and that corruption can be held back, right? That corruption can be restrained. And it hasn't been working. We're pretty corrupt. We're pretty corrupt. Let me get on Facebook and make sure. But not totally corrupt. And that's why we're making our way through this, and it's taking, longer than what we would want. Make sure that you can hear me. So, and what do I mean about pretty corrupt? Well, we have uncovered through the open records requests that we have finally started receiving that the DA of El Paso, Bob Moore, is really up to no good. And he's up to no good with, attorney Justin Underwood, and also with Bob Moore of El Paso Matters, who we have, been very hurt by. He has really done a lot of damage to the community there in El Paso, and absolutely in Richard's case, using unreliable sources to create narratives and have it published to feed uh, whoever reads his El Paso Matters um, false information. So much false information. Matter of fact, today um, there was an attack on a an attorney that is running in a race. I think he's a prosecutor, and he was attacked. And when you go through what we've gone through, you read the newspaper, you read articles a little bit differently because most of it is twisted. It's a false witness statement. And you also go and look at who the sources are, who are they lifting up or whatever. Um, where is this information coming from? And, you go and look them up, and you find out that, a lot of them are not credible, and they're feeding us false information that is doing a lot of harm to our communities. So Bob Moore and Bill Hicks, in these open records, emails, and documentation, communications that we have received, have been working in concert together, have been doing a dance together with Justin Underwood. They're holding their hands doing the criminal dance. They're holding hands in a circle doing a criminal dance, and it's a criminal dance called Injustice, criminal dance called, um, let me think. Let me think about this pen and ink of El Paso Matters that is just um, false narratives, right? And we know that Justin Underwood was, probably is still the attorney for Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia, the divorcee of of Alexander um, Gerhard Hofmann, who died August 3rd, 2019, which is the date of the mass shooting at 6:24 p.m. So says the paperwork, which is, like, really, that's a wowzer. That's a wowzer. Um, and so these Bill Hicks, the DA, the district attorney, did a dance with Justin Underwood, with Bob Moore, colluding behind the scenes in a concerted effort to research how to unseat a sitting district attorney. They did that, y'all. This is before Bill Hicks was appointed. He's not elected, he's appointed. And this is so criminal what they did because it seems by reading the information, if I have it right, and of course, I'm not just coming on here live, we have submitted these inquiries and complaints to the authorities to make sure that what we are reading is, is that criminal? Is that misbehaving? Is that, uh, you know, taking the public for a ride that is, paying the dime for all of this, right? Um, that they are uh, colluding and getting information, which is spying, really, uh, on a DA's office to see what's happening inside the office, misusing official. I, it's just so mind blowing how they're doing this criminal dance, this really collusion dance, this um, conspiratorial dance in these communications uh, to take down and even present to the public how to take down Yvonne Rosales as sitting elected DA. Um, how do we take them down? How do we write a petition to take her down? And, many people participated in that. Many people participated. They went along with it. This is the problem. We sell our soul for a bowl of porridge, for a bowl of lentils. We sell our inheritance, our city out, our future of the city out. We make our city worse instead of better. We're supposed to leave a place better than we found it. That's what I was taught. Leave a place better than you found it. But they're selling. They're thinking, okay, I'm going to go along with this criminal dance. I'm going to join in, and maybe I'll profit off of it or something like that. But what it's doing is really hurting the whole community, the outlining areas, and even into Mexico, because they are thwarting justice, which is the total goal of our entire government, is to make sure that we have a just system, that we have just courts, that for peace, for what is right, to restrain all crime and criminal activities. And yet they're engaging in crime to not establish justice, but to thwart it, right? To become the part of the criminal cabal. And, so it's like, okay, so we have an educated class that are criminals, that we put in there. We look up to them because they have gone to law school. Um, uh, they know how to read, they know how to write, they know how to interpret the law, um, and they're in there doing a criminal dance on top of us. Just putting their shoes all over us, using our dime to do it. This is Bill Hicks. This is Justin Underwood. And this is Bob Moore. And Bob Moore gets 501c3, tax free, tax free. So but we have put in those complaints. We hope that you support us in that, because we absolutely, and all you have to do is ask for the open records, and you can see it for yourself. Ask for the open records. Um, those months preceding uh, Bob Moore, being appointed. No, not Bob Moore. Bill Hicks being appointed district attorney. And Bob Moore really got the exclusive. He got the exclusive on how to do this criminal activity, and which is, really messing with an election. That's what that is. That is disrespecting the voters. That's what that is. And they had a reason, because of John Briggs, right? John Briggs having control over all murder cases and keeping, really doing an injustice there, letting murderers walk, walk. This whole, there's other cases, but let's look at August 3rd again, 2019, the mass shooting. I really feel like they're letting murderers walk. I do not feel that Patrick Crucius could have done this on his own. He acts, as if he's like around 14 years old. You watch the videos. We know it's been confirmed that he has autism. It has been more than confirmed that he has, quote, a severe mental health condition, unquote. That is in his public statement by the judge, by the sentencing judge, that gave him 90 consecutive life sentences in the most harshest. It's called the Alcatraz of the Rockies in Florence, Colorado. Really max secure prison with the worst type of criminals. So, but I don't think he could have done it alone. And there are plenty of witnesses that said that there were more than one shooter. And, when okay, so Patrick Crucius surrendered himself. And by the way, he surrendered himself to a Hispanic police officer. Okay, to a Hispanic police officer with no problems, not even any dirty language, nothing. Just like, here I am, I'm the one that did it, just as nice as can be. And they did not, when they arrested him, they did not bag his hands. Okay, this is in the photos. Um, so Team Find Richard Halliday, we have some, we have some very good friends in all of this that have been in law enforcement, even right here in South Carolina. And, when you have someone that is a shooter and you arrest them, you bag their hands to match, that's evidence of the gunpowder, you see. The gunpowder residue will be on their hands from the shootings. And they did not bag his hands. So I don't think that they thought he was the shooter. I don't think, right? It's just, oh, they didn't think it. Um, they didn't bag his hands. Every police officer knows to do that. Why didn't they bag his hands? Why didn't he have blood on him? He didn't even look like he had some sweat on him. And then, of course, Chris Grant, in his testimony, if his testimony was true, Patrick Crucius was the shooter, he would have soda on him. He would have blood on him. He would be a mess. He'd be pretty dirty. But that wasn't the case. Not at all. And so, in all of this, in all these investigations that we have been confirmed that are going on right now, investigations on the Lonnie Hart, on Bill Hicks, on Bob Moore, um, Nieto, of course, Dirty Agent Marlon Soto, and in the CID, because the CID, you wouldn't even believe. Well, I think you do, because I have been told by so many people that they were so upset about how the CID handled any case, their case, our case, any case, that they are the problem, that the CID is the problem. And so, yeah, so what is going on there is that the dance is becoming an unhappy dance. Okay, it is a fight's going on. Like guys fighting over wanting to dance with a pretty girl or something, right? There's a fight breaking out, and there's no honor amongst thieves. They will turn each other over, and you see that there, people are getting fired, um, and it's all coming out. So as the light gets brighter and brighter on this misconduct, the criminal activities, we're going to have more and more people turning each other in, people talking, which produce even more investigations, and the investigations in themselves. Um, they want to do more investigations because their jobs are on the line, because this is going on 4 or 5 years, right? With it's been um, it's going to 4.5 years for the mass shooting, and 3.5 years for Richard's case. So, it's clearly they have been derelict in their duty. This should have never gone on for this long. We are entitled to a quick, um, speedy justice system, including law enforcement. And there's been so many cover ups, cover up, cover up, cover up, because people want to um, protect their criminal activities that they've been doing. And, Nieto, Jesus Eddie Nieto, has all of these conflicts of interest. He has been allowed to stay in the El Paso area. That's where he's from. He's from that area. That is, an FBI supervisory agent allowed to stay in his little hometown where he has all these connections. And of course, there's going to be then conflicts of interest. You have all your family members, you have all your high school buddies, your school buddies, your El Paso Police Department buddies, and he's allowed to stay here. And of course, there's going to be connections and conflicts of interest. And so I want to tell you that is a stark opposite of Richard's situation. Richard was very far away from home. He was raised in Longford, Ireland, and Heidelberg, Germany. El Paso was a long ways from home, and he has absolutely. I want to make sure that everyone knows this, because there was a concerted effort to smear Richard and to put in people's minds Um, and even our minds about the sheriff. You know, we were told some horrible things about the sheriff of El Paso. And I need to explain that a little bit at a later time. But there were this is a problem with people like Bob Moore of El Paso Matters that feed in the community. They have a platform where they can feed the community a hypnosis, a false narrative, and it really hinders any kind of pursuit of justice. Because if you're not putting out the truth, that is obstruction of justice, right? So, yeah, it really, getting back to Richard, there was definitely a concerted effort with the CID to the military police guard mount, with the FBI, with the, of course, because of the conflicts of interest, with the military command, even with the unit. I have to tell you, even with the unit, um, to smear Richard. And, he was reporting on unlawful activities on Fort Bliss. Of course, his what was going on right in front of him, and him wanting to be a CID, he thought that he was doing the right thing. He absolutely called the FBI. He absolutely called Washington, D.C. He absolutely, the IG were all over the barracks because of Richard. The CID absolutely knew. And this was in 2019, y'all. In 2019, the year of the mass shooting. Okay. Richard was reporting. Richard was putting in complaints. Richard was putting in complaints to the Child Protective Services. Um, many calls, and they were returning the calls. And I'm sure there's some numbers, there's some case numbers, um, because of Richard's reporting. Okay, that's why they had to smear him. He was reporting the very agencies. Um, Maybe they weren't the initial complaint, right? But they did the cover up for the complaint, and and they retaliated against Richard, and that's why they had to smear him, because when um, Alma Trejo saw through the smear tactics and the false allegations, and the setup, right? The setup. She cleared Richard on July 9th of 2020 before he went missing. And that is motive for them harming him, because now he was credible. He is still credible. I want to make this very, very clear. We have research day in and day out. In those 800 pages that came out, it's not quite 800 pages, but almost, there is not one piece of corroborating evidence against Richard. Not one piece. We have looked at the database for the FBI, the criminal database for the FBI. Not one piece, not one report against Richard. Not one incident against Richard. Richard has he is so clean. He is spotless clean. And that's why the Interpol was a yellow Interpol, because they had nothing on him. Nothing. Not even the Army has anything on him. He was an absolutely honorable whistleblower. And for others to uh, report things that are defamation, that's a crime. Because we've been to the records. They have nothing. 800 pages, not one piece of corroborating evidence against Richard. All the evidence is in his favor. All the evidence is in his favor. And, it's that is something that needs to be shared over and over again. Okay. So I have someone on here. Um Richard's identity was stolen. His items from his rooms were tampered with. Absolutely. And so now, because um, because of that investigation, because of all of the open records, um, he was, Richard wasn't kicked out of school because he was homeschooled. I know all about his school. He was the distinguished undergraduate for basic training. So anyway, this is garbage. Yeah. Okay. So we can't waste time on garbage. We have to the the investigation, including all of the open records that we have now been combing through, is part of our complaints that have been agreed to investigate. This is huge news, huge news. And so there isn't, I have to repeat, um, the criminals, the murderers are out there walking. The criminals are out there still trying to um, smear and cover up their criminal activities, which are whores and blow, human trafficking, prostitution, child pornography, child trafficking. 14-year-old girl that was the stepdaughter of the guard under the director of emergency services, Thomas Kane, was living in the barracks being pimped out for weeks. Okay? There are security breaches on Fort Bliss and on our military installations. What does this mean? They have allowed these security breaches so that they can easily get prostitutes in, prostitutes out, illegal drugs in, illegal drugs out, weapons in, weapons out, money in, money out, ammunition in, out. Um, this We have evidence that we have shared of health and welfare checks. We have the record of Brigadier General David Stewart saying the barracks were flush with weapons, and the health and welfare check corroborates that those weapons were unregistered. These are unregistered weapons. Um, so, this is the point is, and they were bringing in girls. Remember the command sergeant major? We're bringing in girls during the COVID, right? To have some party, whores and blow. Because when those girls come in, they are mules for illegal drugs and other whatever. And they're, it can't be healthy with or without these COVID mandates, right? During that time. But this is during the COVID lockdown. We brought in girls, meaning Major General Clem Coward and Command Sergeant Major Jerry Jakovitz. Okay, with director, because the director of emergency services, we have this also confirmed that he is the one that provided those girls with the passes to get in. All right, and then we have eyewitness testimony of seeing those girls being brought in during the COVID lockdown. Now, that is telling you, the American people, the people of El Paso, that really Fort Bliss being there in El Paso does more harm than good because of the security breaches that are allowed to take place, that are, um, you think you're making money, but think about the taxes that they don't pay. Think about all the crime. Think about all of the trafficking and money laundering and smuggling and everything that's going through that border, um, because of the cooperation of the officials, of the leadership on Fort Bliss. They are cooperating with the criminals by leaving that installation wide open, making it very easy. Why would they do that? Because they are cooperating and I'm sure profiting off of the criminal activity. And they were saying things about Richard that was just absolutely insane. Only Jesus Eddie Nieto could pull that off. Somebody that was raised there, like Dallas Hart. Dallas Hart could pull that off. Wasn't there the whole time of his life, but he went to high school there. He was going to he went green to gold there, right? Someone let him go green to gold. Someone signed that off. And he's a son of criminals, a convicted criminal. Absolutely. Incest, raping a 7-year-old in Leilani Hart's master bedroom. Why isn't she arrested if that's fake? Right? And why is James Hart telling me on the phone that the CID called him to say, "Oh yeah, you're clear" or whatever, or was it the FBI that called him? They don't do that. That's only if you're buddy buddy. They're buddy buddy. Hey James, this is your buddy Marlon. Just want to let you know we got you covered. Continue. You know, uh, that's mm, uh me acting it out. Saying, is that what happened? Because I was told by James, it's on record, that he got that call saying he's cleared. That doesn't happen unless you have connections. They don't get the FBI case number unless you have connections. And Leilani Hart had connections. She was having an affair. She, with CID. So, and the connections with Dreams Cabaret. What's going on there? That's, y'all, that's really big. That's really big. Um, and that's why, they have to watch, because I'm not pulling all of this stuff out. You cannot stop the truth from coming out. They try their darndest to hide the truth. All we are asking is, where's Richard? And when we look at what the CID has told us, and we look into it to verify, to vet what they're saying, there's nothing to corroborate it. When we look at Veltri and her actions, not even visiting the binational crime scene, uh, you know, she's, look, we would be really uh, very bad parents if we didn't look into and confirm what they were saying after so many victims' families are like, don't trust the CID, don't trust the CID, they're no good, they're no good, right? And we're like, okay, we're going to put on record everything, and we're going to vet everything because we want to know where our son is. And then it was Leilani Hart that exposed that they were involved in Richard's disappearance and murder. And murder. Code red. That doesn't that mean she said this was a code red. So that means murder. Okay? She's the one that exposed it. I didn't. I'm just the mom saying, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. It was Sean Bernabe that exposed that they were looking for Richard's remains in Mexico with the Department of State on the Fort Bliss footprint. Well, if they're looking in both places, you mean Richard's been dismembered? And it wasn't me that said the FBI found Richard in Juarez, that they were looking in multiple places. It was Nieto's buddy, Baim, Nadal Baim, FBI man, who's the father-in-law of a conflict of interest, Bradford Bugado in the G3 of the 32nd ATCOM, which is Richard's command. It made our jaws drop. That was Nadal Baim that said that. It wasn't me. It wasn't me that questioned and revealed Nieto. Nieto did that because he's not doing his job. He's supposed to be the lifeboat for El Paso. He is the FBI supervisory agent. He's supposed to be the lifeboat. And his conflict of interest with his wife and his wife's conflict of interest and his conflict of interest with Angela Kachurga, I didn't do that. He's the one that did that with Angela Kachurga, right? He's the one that did that. And Angela and with Bob Moore. I'm just letting everyone know, I'm taking the risk of letting you know where the real evidence is. Where the real evidence is. If you want to see the real evidence, you look at the thieves, because that's what they are. Thieves. They will do anything for their business plan, and they will even take life. Destroy life, take life. They're thieves, and there's no honor amongst thieves. That's why we could tell who was a thief, because they were so apparent, so obvious that they had no honor. And Richard, absolutely distinguished honor graduate for his cycle and basic training. That means he was number one. Number one. And he was calling and calling and reporting and even calling for help, y'all. Even 911 calls, he was calling. And, thank God for Alma Trejo. Thank God for the bond agent. When we talked to her, she was like, oh my gosh, he was so sweet. He was so sweet. He did anything I asked him to do, which is, and she explained to me that is so abnormal. They're so, um, they fight you when they're supposed to do something. But she goes, not Richard. He was so sweet. That was her words. That wasn't my words. It made me cry. I remember when Rob and I called her. We were just like on this walk and we thought, you know what, we need to call the bond agent and see what she has to say. And it was amazing call. Amazing call. I'll never forget it. And I reported it on the live stream. And so as all of these investigations go forth, which they are, we have confirmation, and there's a lot of them, y'all. Very serious ones. As they go forth, and you see, you're going to see some turmoil again because there is no honor amongst thieves. And they will, they're not going to go, they don't believe in confession, the cure of souls. They don't believe in that. They don't believe in humility. They're not going to come out and say, oh, yeah, I'm the one that cut Richard up in pieces. Oh, yeah, I shot him in the head. Oh, yeah, I'm the one that, organized um, the retaliation against him. Yeah, because we were trying to shut him up. They're not going to do that. They're going to fight every inch of the way. But that's exactly, I don't know the exact what happened to him, but I know that he was retaliated against. I know that he was forcefully removed from his barracks room. I know that he was tortured. I know that he was murdered. I know that his body um, was not treated with honor and dignity, that it was dismembered. And, uh, and, Richard was a donor, an organ donor. And they could have used that against him too, because 3905 Bliss Avenue is connected to Dr. Mario Raskin Ortiz, connected to the mortuary affairs. And don't forget Amber Chase, she was mortuary affairs. Don't forget Tavita Nusa's brother is mortuary affairs. Tavita Nusa also has surgical abilities. Um, you know, all of these circumstantial evidence, the irregularities, and you know, who's Donna Sifford, right? I mean, it was like all I did was ask Donna Sifford, and everyone's coming back. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, um, because she's supposed to be this darling angel, but there's there is a perception, and you have to open up the curtain to see what's behind it. And it's kind of shocking what's behind it. But yeah, yeah, I can tell you this. Beto did not do his research. Chris Cuomo didn't do his research. The governor didn't do his research. Someone's working for the governor that is not giving him good advice, because somebody told the governor to appoint Bill Hicks. That was not good advice. This is absolutely 100%. That was not good advice. So yeah, I just thank everyone for coming on here, because this is really moving forward, and we're going to try. Of course, we've been writing this book, organizing all of this information, but it's moving so fast. I'm going to put out little bits to help everyone. And if you do have questions, if you do, you can absolutely. I don't answer my phone if I don't know the number or even the hotline number, because of how much we've been harassed and that. I check the number first. So I go into the system. We have Team Find Richard Halliday, and we check the number first. And then if it's a legit number, I call back. Most people I already know, they're in my system, so I absolutely am available. But we're on so many platforms that you can leave comments and everything. And of course, we don't have a huge staff, so you're going to see some comments that I haven't uh, addressed. So, yeah, but we're doing the best we can, and it is mighty. It is mighty because you have to. Who's more important, writing Christopher Wray of the FBI, um, writing Merrick Garland of the Department of Justice, writing Horowitz and the IG, writing the governor of Texas, and others. There's so many others, y'all. So this is what's really this is our focus is making all the reports, sharing what we have found in the abnormalities of it's like third grade work in the report, the investigation, and in all of the open records. So and we're like I said, we just even got election interference, it seems, from Bob Moore and Bill Hicks and Justin Underwood. Um, yeah, and real bullies, y'all. So, you know, do your homework. This is our law enforcement community. We have to do our homework. We have to ask for open records. We have to see what they're doing. That's why the records are there. And we have to know because I can tell you this, they have taken advantage of us. And they don't think kindly of us because they've done us so much harm. They're not loving at all. They are very hateful. They've stolen our money. They've stolen our communities, the safety of our communities, and lives and lives. And then they mask all of their hate with with these stories, you know, like yeah, with these stories to put us in a trance, to make a, to do some kind of psyop on us, to do some kind of hypnosis on us, give us a matrix so that we don't really see reality. And so I just want to let everyone know, please um, do your homework and don't believe everything that you read and say. Just really, really discern. Thank you, everyone. Good night. We will be back tomorrow, God willing. Um, thank you. We